The problem is everybody throws this subject against the wall
Yes,
as if it
yes.
solves something.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't want you to
Yeah.
think it solves anything.
yeah.
All it solves for is if you divorce, it doesn't mean that you've actually sat down and got to know each other. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you sat
Okay.
down and
Again,
agreed,
that's-
okay, here's how we're going to spend my grandparents' money that they gave me is going to pay off your student loans when we come home from the honeymoon.
Alright, this caller thought that their plan made perfect sense until Dave Ramsey starts digging and finds the real problem. What starts as a simple call quickly turns into an explosive financial wake-up call. Breaking it all down on Debt Disaster Daily. Subscribe for more financial chaos. Let's jump in.
So I'm 26 and I'm looking to get engaged here soon. But my girlfriend and I, we have very different net worths, and I was curious what or how you would look at setting up a prenup.
What does very different net worth mean?
I was very blessed. My grandparents did very well. I have a $550,000 paid for house, about $50,000 in a truck. I also have about $135 between my 401k and my various accounts. I also have $350K left over in a college fund. She is currently in PA school, and she will be coming out of school with about $120,000 to $150,000 in debt.
What do you make?
I make about $100. Well, I'm in sales, so $120,000 to $150,000 a year.
Okay.
She will be making about
if I were in your
$120,000,
shoes, I would get so comfortable with this lady in order to marry her that I don't need a prenup. You don't have enough net worth to fool with it.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure about that one. I think he should do a prenup. If he pivots to investing in assets later on, I would recommend the prenup.
If you can't get $600,000 worth of comfortable with somebody, you don't need to marry them.
Okay.
If you had $60 million from your grandparents, we'll talk about a prenup. But
Okay.
at $600K, no.
Okay.
I wouldn't. Would you, Rachel?
No, I mean the only thing I could think of, if I'm in her shoes, and the script was flipped, and I'm marrying a guy, he's coming out, and I had built a life for me, and I had bought my own home, and I had done some big things. I could see like the home, for instance, maybe if something were to ever happen. Yeah, that because the thing that's hard with prenups is like the laws in every state with divorce are different, okay? And so there's going to be something that is going to happen if that happens. So are you proactive about that on the front end? Up to you. People nowadays are getting more and more comfortable with it because people are getting married later with some established financial life versus two 21-year-olds who have nothing and they're, getting married. So more and more we get this call, and I think I had a pretty black and white take on it for years of like, nope. And now there's just a part of me that I'm like, maybe one part of this that you're like, yeah, if something were to happen, I have built a life, right? I mean, I know people that have their own businesses and that kind of thing. I don't know.
If you've got a substantial net worth, and I'm not, your grandparents blessed you. There's no question about that. But this is about $600,000, and it's okay. It's okay if you get one.
I mean, then again, this is why I say maybe not. Or this is where I say maybe I disagree, because what if he decides to scale those $600K? What if? He's probably going to be like, well, I'm making this much, but I want to make more. I want to invest on XYZ. I want to start XYZ. And then next thing you know, he scales it up and he still hasn't signed a prenup and bullshit happens and there you go. So that's why I'm like, even if he did have $600K, me personally, I'd still do it.
Like $1 million. He has a $550,000 home, 135, 350,
and the house too. On top of that, he's in a probably in a big house, $500K house. I'd say go for it.
50 and like everything together.
Yeah.
It's probably more like $1 million.
Okay.
So
if you want to do it, it's okay. I just want you to be really, really sure that the problem is everybody throws this subject against the wall
Yes,
as if it
yes.
solves something.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't want you to
Yeah.
think it solves anything.
yeah.
All it solves for is if you divorce.
And before anyone starts commenting, going like, "Oh my God, you're framing this as you're solving it," no, no, no. I'm well aware of, pretty much well aware how divorces work. And when people don't have prenups, the guy gets screwed. Very, very, very screwed. I'm pretty sure some of us can agree on that. But again, it really depends on the situation. But 90%, it's always the guy who gets screwed for not signing up a prenup. There goes their assets, there goes their house, there goes whatever valuables they have, and they have to split it in half. Now, I'm not saying signing up a prenup is going to solve anything during the marriage. It's just a protection for your assets. As a person who's acquiring assets, financially literate, and making these financial decisions and making sure that you're going to be okay in case shit goes AWOL. It's more of a protection thing, if anything.
It doesn't mean that you've actually sat down and got to know each other. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you sat down and
Again,
agreed, okay, here's how we're going to spend my grandparents' money that they gave me is going to pay off your student loans when we come home from the honeymoon. You got to solve for that emotionally.
And that's a
I
blessing.
would, by the way, I would do that.
Yeah, 100%.
I definitely would. You got 350,000 in
Yes.
in a college account.
Yes.
You can use it for your spouse, and I'd pay off that debt in about 20 seconds. And you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you got
for
to
sure.
got to emotionally, is this relation, because the only chance you have in a culture that hates marriage for your marriage to last is you got to be willing to die for them. You got to be willing to take a bullet for them.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be, it's all in, ride or die, as Deloney says. We're in. And so the problem with the prenup is it's kind of got one foot in the boat, one on the dock, you know, and it's like, you know, and I want you to go all in. And then if you've emotionally, relationally, with some good marriage coaching, counseling, solve for all the all in part, and you're ready to write a check and pay off for student loans when you get back from the honeymoon, and if on top of that you want to do a prenup, okay, I'm not going to yell at you for that, for $1 million, but.
And honestly, I mean, we got to be thinking logically here as men. For those who are watching this as men who haven't been married yet, you got to think logically. Why do we live in an era where they hate marriage? Why is marriage now basically, I guess, haram in a way? Well, it's because the modern society, how modern dating has been structured recently, has not been favorable for married couples. Now, can some marriages work? Of course. I'm not saying marrying in this generation is not going to work at all. Of course, if you find somebody who's willing to, who's unconditional, then yeah, of course, it should work. But that's not the case anymore. It is no longer 1960, and I think Dave Ramsey kind of fails to understand that, unfortunately.
But I really want you to think that through.
Yeah, because I think and again, I'm like saying this out loud as I'm like processing it, because I think too the downside of people that do prenups, so that's probably a generalization, but is that you're starting out emotionally saying financially this is mine, and this is you over here, and
that's not emotional. That's called logic right there. The guy, especially if this is a guy doing this, I built this kingdom, right? You're just gonna come in here, and just because you come in here, and all of a sudden you want a divorce, that doesn't mean you should live off like some queen afterwards. No, I built this on my own. I was here before you, so really, you're basically trying not to screw yourself over, and lose half of your assets. But then I'm gonna get some comments where they're gonna say, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, why you gotta think this way, man? Why you gotta think this way?" Like, it's because, I'm sorry, but if this was my case, my situation, this is my grandparents' money, for God's sake. Of course I'm going to try to protect that. The fuck you mean I'm not going to do that?
And that can tend to then go into the marriage where that's financially, where we say, no, you're all in. So if you did do a prenup and you're like, if the worst of the worst of the worst happens, and we do the divorce, court or whatever, and this is how assets are divided. But inside the marriage from that point on, we are commingling finances. Mine is what's mine is yours. Yes. And net worth. That everything then is together.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that plays. I don't know. But so that's my caution with it too. I don't like that. I don't like that emotional hurdle. But yet again, I mean, I'm like, I can't help myself. But when we sit on this side of the desk, we have so many calls of people who have walked through divorce and all, you know what I mean? And someone that brings in something or had a business. I mean, I've had people in my own life, and that's happened to, and you're just like, man.
Yeah. What I always want to do is force people to set that aside and act like it's not there.
Yeah.
And get okay with that.
Yes.
And that level of commitment.
Yep.
And then, if you want to do it, fine. But what it does, it keeps people from going deep.
Right.
It keeps them from going all the way to ground floor. And you got to do that for your marriage to have a chance in a
unity
in a culture where marriage we're at war against marriage. I mean,
well, again, this ties to again, honestly, prenups are kind of like a filter system to see who is really a gold digger and who is not. And if you're dating a gold digger, then honestly, I don't know what the hell you're doing, man. You're already a lost cause. I'm sorry, but that's too much stress. That's too much unnecessary stress. That's too much bullshit that comes along with it. It's like, and if you want to have kids with that, it's like, no, absolutely not. No. I mean, a perfect example right now, is probably Larry Wheels. No offense to the guy, but he kind of screwed himself over by not signing up that prenup with that one chick. And now she thinks she's all high and mighty with some bullshit, on some bullshit stupidity. It's like, nah, bro. And yeah, once again, they don't seem to understand how modern dating works nowadays. And I'm not saying all of them are gold diggers. It's just some are really good at hiding it. But once that prenup comes up, it's like, that's very revealing. And again, since they're probably just gonna yap about this, but you know what? Let me finish it before I go to my moral story.
and it's like,
it's just
crazy.
It's just not a priority for some people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
but the other one that's interesting, Rachel, on that side of the thing. Of course, when I started a long time ago, I just said never do a prenup.
Yeah.
On the basis of what we've just been saying.
Yes.
But then I ran into weirdness where somebody's got $2 or $3 million and the other one's broke. Mm-hmm. And it's not the person, usually. It's like I find out that there's a weird brother-in-law or cousin in the mix. Mm-hmm. And it's like it just cleans up the external family.
Because the brother-in-law?
The prenup, you're like, I can't touch it. It's not mine. So her crazy brother, starts coming at the new husband.
And it's like, fund this. I want to do this.
It's handled. It's already handled. You can't get to it. So there's crazy in every family, and if you think there's not, it's you. So mm-hmm. That's what you're looking for. And then Deloney and I were having this discussion. He's doing all this marriage research right now, and he had a guy come at him, and we had this great discussion the other day when we're traveling together, and that a guy made the point that a prenup is like a will. Because if you don't do a will, the state has a set of laws on how your assets will be divided.
Yeah, that's right.
If you don't do a prenup, the state has a set of laws in divorce of how you're going to be divided.
Yeah.
And they said, but we tell everybody to do a will to pre-plan, so the state is not in charge.
But you are 100%.
And so if you want to be anti-government, Dave is about as anti-government as anybody you'll ever meet. Classic hillbilly, right? Like, don't like them revenuers.
Yeah.
And so... that kind of stuff. And so if you want to be real anti-government, Dave, you would do everybody a prenup so the government's not deciding.
You're the one deciding.
And that's an interesting philosophical discussion.
Yes.
It didn't sway me, but it's worth talking about.
But also, you're 100% going to die, so you're 100% going to use your will.
That's what I said,
You may
too.
not.
That was part of my answer, too. With
You
the loan.
half may use the prenup, half may not.
That's a good point.
But that's my thing, too. And again, honestly, the reality we live in today, people are getting married later, and they're coming in established with something.
But that adds to the danger, because you've got this independence.
Yes.
And in order to have a quality relationship, that has to go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to become interdependent to have a quality relationship.
I fully disagree on that, because once again, this is no longer 1960, Brev. Come on, man. Like, study why this is happening. I mean, I'm pretty sure they know why. They're just probably not gonna say it. But anyways, I digress. More of the story, really. I mean, I'm glad they brought up the state, because that's another thing. If you're gonna get married, don't get married by the state. Do it religiously. That way, at least certain people are not involved. And, well, I'd still go with the prenup regardless. If you're a man that's built something or wants to build something, I mean, I wouldn't even get married until I have that settled up, really. Most people fail to understand that man's goals and a woman's goals are, like, very different. So people really fail to understand that. And it's like, come on, man. Like, don't get it twisted, please. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And what doesn't even add up at all is why the hell would you get married by the state? It's like, why? No, I wouldn't even want those people involved. But I'm not saying don't get married at all. If you really have an unconditional person, then I'd say go for it. But other than that, I mean, I really wouldn't, and I really wouldn't skip the prenup portion, especially if you're building something. We can agree to disagree. It is what it is. I mean, times change. It's no longer like 1960. I know I said that 3 times, but it's like people need to get through their heads that it's no longer back then. Marriages are not the same as they were back then. So they gotta get it through their head. But I digress. This is more of like, prenups are basically in a way, like I said, a filter system or a protection of any financial collateral damage that could happen. Because anything can happen. You never know. But I digress. This is Debt Disaster Daily. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below. Share your thoughts. And we're out.